Prime Field.
All right, put the confetti away for 1 second and look at the map. Because after that 96-66 demolition of number 15 Tennessee, the last team to beat them, UConn didn't just win a big game, they removed the final regular season stop sign. So here's the question we're asking on 40-0 watch. If the Huskies are 23-0, the unanimous number 1, and there are no ranked teams left on the schedule, is perfection still a dream? Or is it turning into math? Let's start with what made this win feel different. The game actually tested them. Halftime, 42-42. That's not the usual UConn by 18, everybody exhale script. And then, like someone flipped the serious switcher, UConn comes out and turns it into a clinic. They shoot 58.5% from the field, 50% from 3, and rack up 24 assists on 38 made shots. That's not hot shooting. That's system-level control. And defensively, Tennessee, top 15 offense, gets squeezed down to 38.1% shooting. And in that pivotal third quarter, they go 26.3%. This is why this win matters. It wasn't just the scoreboard. It was the shape of the game. UConn proved that they can get punched and still win by 30. Now zoom out. UConn is 23-0, and they're the only undefeated team left in Division I. And the ranking isn't a brand name thing. This is supported by the profile. They're sitting at number 1 in net T rank and Massey. And when you're top of the polls and top of the computers, what does that usually mean? It means your dominance isn't a vibe. It's a pattern. And the scariest part, that pattern is widening the gap. They're averaging a plus 39.7 margin on the season. And against Tennessee, when it mattered most, they hit the turbo button. From a tie game at halftime to a 54-24 second half surge. That's the difference between great team and final boss. Let's talk streaks, because this part has real weight. UConn is now on a 39-game winning streak, dating back to that 80-76 loss to Tennessee on February 6, 2025. That's not just a streak, that's a whole era of we don't lose. And here's what keeps it alive. The Huskies don't need one weapon. They stack weapons. Against Tennessee, they win the boards to 39-30. They score 14 second chance points to Tennessee's 2. They run the floor for 26 fast break points. They force 20 turnovers and convert them into 36 points. So when the game gets messy, UConn gets comfortable. And we saw it. This was the first time all season they were tied at a halftime. And what happens next? A response run, a separation run, that tells you the streak is protected by something deeper than talent. It's protected by habits. Now here comes the part that makes 40-0 watch feel very real. From here on out, it's Big East scheduling, and there are no top 25 teams remaining. They've already won 50 straight regular season conference games. And when you look at the SRS gap, it's not close. Villanova is the toughest remaining profile. And even that sits way below UConn's rating. So what do these next games become? Not survive. They become optimize. And the next 3 opponents, DePaul, Butler, Creighton, are all unranked. And UConn already beat them by an average of 53 points. These games are less about can UConn win, and more about can they sharpen execution? Can they manage minutes? Can they experiment without consequence? Because undefeated seasons don't die when you're hunted. They die when you get bored. So the challenge is focus, not firepower. Okay, let's go there. This team is putting up numbers that invite the Dynasty conversation, 2014 to 2016 territory. That legendary 2016 team went 38-0, scored 88.1 per game, and lived around a plus 39, 8 margin. This current group, they're at 90.2 points per game and a plus 39, 7 margin right now. And against Tennessee, they shot 58.5%, higher than the 2016 team's season average. They hit 50% from 3, while the 2016 squad lived at 38.1% from deep. That's the modern edge, spacing, gravity, and a passing ecosystem that turns good shots into great shots. And the offensive rating, 120.8, that's Dynasty-level air. Here's the secret that makes a 40-0 feel less like hype and more like structure. UConn's bench is starter quality. Ali Ziebell, Ashlyn Shade, Sarah Williams. In most programs, that trio is not nice depth. That trio is a foundation. Against Tennessee, the bench outscores Tennessee's bench 32-19. Williams puts up 12 points and 2 blocks in 29 minutes. Returning from an ankle injury, Ziebell adds 10 points and a huge 3 during the momentum stretch. Shade gives you 10 points and 5 assists with defensive pressure that never cools off. And here's the matchup problem it creates. Ziebell's hitting 48.2% from 3 on the season. So if you load up on Sarah Strong inside, you're gifting perimeter punishment. This is how you blow teams out without your starters playing 38 minutes. No drop-off, no oxygen for opponents. And this is where coaching shows up. Geno Auriemma doesn't build teams to be perfect in March by accident. He wants February to stress test you. Tennessee erased a 16-point lead and tied it at the half. Exactly the kind of moment where a lesser team gets emotional. UConn got surgical. They outscored Tennessee 29-11 in the third, and in that quarter, they go 12 of 16 shooting, 75%. They cut turnovers from 10 in the first half to 5 in the second, and the defense gets reorganized into chaos. That's coaching. That's halftime clarity. That's a team that can reset midstream. And when you can do that, that's how close games turn into 30-point wins. So if the regular season runway is clear, what's left? The NCAA tournament, where the only teams with the personnel to theoretically push UConn are the heavyweights, South Carolina, Texas. South Carolina is built on rebounding and transition juice. And they've got the Dawn Staley experience of surviving high-pressure streak environments. Texas has elite wing play and already proved that they can beat South Carolina this season. But the case for UConn is simple. Their profile is still superior in dominance and separation. Their interior advantage, especially with Sarah Strong and Sarah Williams, looks like the kind of thing that travels. And if you can win by 30 against a top 15 team after being tied at halftime, that's not just good. That's tournament-proof behavior. So here's the takeaway after Tennessee. The last psychological hurdle is gone. The last ranked speed bump is gone, and the rest of the schedule is basically a laboratory for UConn to get sharper. But perfection isn't just about talent, it's about attention. So I'm asking you in the comments, what's the bigger threat to 40-0? An actual opponent in March? Or the mental trap of cruising through February?
Prime Field!